Welcome to 3Oul 3Isters. My name is Jamila Oluka and you're watching us here live on UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. I'm so glad to be here again to talk about 3Oul 3Isters and also to share stories with our ladies and you, the viewers who have been following us. Thank you very much for choosing 3Oul 3Isters. And I want to remind you that 3Oul 3Isters runs every Wednesday, 9 p.m. a Friday, 11 a.m. and also you can get us on YouTube, still 3Oul 3Isters. But before I delve into the conversation with Pauline, I want to tell you that please support Patricia to Shone Creations, because all these outfits that you see me looking smart on, they are from Patricia to Shone Creations. Her number is on the screen. Please make sure that you order for whatever you want from her. She has quite a variety of clothes, from childhood, from the children's wear, to male, to women. So her fashion is all round and she's a very good fashionista. So I pray that you support her. If you remember, we hosted Patricia here a few months ago. She's a lady who openly admitted that she's HIV positive, and she's also a widow, and she's also a single mother again with 3 children. So we believe that when we support someone who is doing something, we give food to the children, we pay the school fee through supporting her. So let's support Shone Creations. Now in studio, I am with Pauline. As you see, she's looking so lovely. She's going to tell us her name. And then, Pauline, you tell me, which schools did you... Okay, let us start from where were you born? You tell us your name, where you were born, and then which schools you went to in your primary.
Very grateful for the opportunity. My name is Pauline Wagoita. Coming to my education, I went to Winterland Junior School. I moved to Mount of Olives College for O and A level, and then Makerere University. So
you know what Baganda say, Ontwala CPD. So I'm going to take you back to where were you born? Like were you born, and then the schools you went to in primary? Like winters were in Kampala, in Hollywood, in New York.
So I'm a born of Wakiso. I went to Winterland Junior School, that is in Chira. Mount of Olives College, Kachiri, that is along Hoima Road.
Yes.
Both for O and A level, where I did my sciences. And then Makerere University for my Bachelor of Education.
Wow, it is so interesting. Just last week we hosted a teacher, and it's like the season of teachers. So Pauline, just to take you back, how was Pauline at home when she was growing up?
Okay, so she was this kind of an industrious girl at home, because for children who have been brought up in well-groomed families, of course, they have to do work at home. So we used to have duties to do at home, washing dishes, like any other role. Actually, I don't remember my mother hiring a maid to do chores for us. Wow. We did the work for ourselves.
Cooking, what?
Exactly.
So do you know how to cook using firewood?
Exactly.
Pauline, no.
Obvious.
You can cook beans, cook what in firewood?
Because I'm a Muganda, and you cannot be a Muganda and then you don't know how to do all that kind of work, more so kitchen work.
More so kitchen work. So you can wrap the matoke properly, luwombo.
Verily.
Wow. Wow. In Teso, we don't do that. We just mingo our kalo. And then you serve it and eat. Yeah, even matoke, there are very few Teso who know how to cook matoke in that way. Unless if you really take the interest. But we do a posho, kaunga, kaunga, sweet potato, just boil and then do your ginas and that's it. But I see in Buganda, so much attachment is put into food. So now, you learned how to cook, and then before we delve into understanding you properly, what are those cheeky things that you remember in your primary?
One, I remember when I was growing up, I was more of a boy character. My mother was wondering if I would ever change, but things changed. I really changed because I remember I used to make those small houses built of stones. I used to rear dogs, rabbits, so more of a boy character.
So where would you take these dogs when you rear them?
No, No, you would keep them at the neighborhood, probably at the friends if they had enough space. Actually, it was more of a project because we wanted to explore more as children. You want to know. Actually, I remember in my primary 5, I reared a rabbit. I even gave it a name. I actually wanted to celebrate its birthday.
Oh my God.
So when I went to school for boarding, unfortunately I came back, my rabbit was nowhere to be found. I sought for the rabbit.
Or they had eaten it.
They hadn't eaten it, only to realize that it had went missing in the neighborhood. There was a fence nearby where it disappeared from, and they also decided to hospitalize it. They decided to make it their own. But finally I found it. Now when I went back to school in boarding, hoping to find it in the holiday, to find it was eaten.
Oh my God, you must have cried.
I must have cried indeed. I remember I did cry because I loved it so much.
So do you still have passion for animals?
Yeah, but not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much like
so
it
then,
was then.
when you went to Winters, afterwards you went to which school in the secondary?
That was Mount of Olives College, Kachiri, where I found my principal, Mrs. Regina Laboke. And I wonder how God does his things. While I was in Mount of Olives College, Kachiri, it was under the schools that are participating under FAWE, that is Forum for African Women Educationalists, an organization also which laid a foundation for my passion for the girl child.
Actually, FAWE worked with us, still working with us on inspiring the girls, because in last year's 2024, the Most Inspiring Story pageant, we got 3 girls, and FAWE is supporting those girls as we speak right now. Some of them are joining university, and they have been given scholarships.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you talk about FAWE, that means it has come a long way. You're so many of you who have benefited from FAWE.
Exactly.
So then what happened?
Yeah, so FAWE, first of all, I remember when I was in senior 5, the FAWE has different subsections, I should say. So they had what they call STEM, or the STEM projects under the education department, where they're encouraging girls to do science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I happened to be one of the students who moved forward for those STEM competitions organized by FAWE. Actually, I came up with a project called the Will Propels Prayer. Even when you go to Google, you can find it there.
What is that again?
It's the Will Propels Prayer. When you type in my name, Naggirinya Pauline, my birth name, it brings all the details, even under FAWE, Uganda.
Wow, interesting. So when you won that project, they gave you a scholarship?
It was not even about scholarship, but of course they gave us gifts. And then number 2, it built my interest in taking on sciences. Otherwise, many girls out there fear taking on sciences. They believe we
Many
cannot.
people, not just girls.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a universal thing.
Okay. So by that interest they built in us while I was still in Mount of Olives College, Kachiri, I ended up taking sciences. I did biology, chemistry, and math.
And then how did you performed well?
I excelled. So I even thank God I got on government. That is at Makerere. So, but
that's how many points did you get?
Actually, I would not check them.
Pauline,
but they enabled me to get on government.
Yeah, but you see, by the time you get on government, that means you have performed well. Because recently, getting a scholarship on government is becoming like, you know, getting water from a hard rock. So there's competition, so many schools are doing well, there's so many schools. So getting a scholarship is actually very good. So then, did you have did you want to do education, or was it a second option? It
wasn't, never a second option. I just love being a teacher. I love being with children. Currently, I'm running a pre and lower primary school, that side of Namgongo Road, because I'm called to be a teacher, I should say. So education was never a second option. I remember after excelling in sciences, my family tried to push me, go do medicine, you know. There is that mentality that whenever someone has excelled in sciences, they have to do a medical course. It's an automatic answer.
And yet some people fear blood.
Exactly. So I remember that time they used to push me, you have to do this, you have to do this. I stood on my two legs and I was like, no, I want to be a teacher. Actually, when you ask many students at A level who are doing those science subjects, biology, chemistry, physics, they'll tell you, I want to be a surgeon, I want to be a doctor. But then self-realization is very important. I later realized that I'm called to be a teacher, and that is what pushed me to pursue education, and it's what I'm doing currently.
Wow. So when you finished university, you go to school immediately to teach?
I got to school even before completion because passion is something that is very key and important. Let me give an example. We have some medical personnel, say the doctors and nurses, but they studied that for the sake of studying.
For the sake, maybe because the parents pushed them to.
And actually, as I speak to parents that I'm working with, I always advise them to observe their children's passion. What do they see they like most that they should support them into that field? So what was I saying? I was saying that there are many medical personnel out there who are not called to be medical personnel. So a calling and also passion are also very key and important. That these people we've had, they make an operation, they leave the scissors, they leave cotton in a patient. I really don't think those people are passionately doing that work.
Even now, there are some hospitals you go to and they tell you that you go and the rest you go and read on Google, you know.
You find out yourself. You find someone, they're injecting someone, but as if they're injecting a cow. And yet, if some people, you know, they fear injections.
And then there are also good doctors. I know of doctors who will give you time. And sometimes I wonder, they have to talk to all these patients, but they will give you time. I think that is what you call passion.
Exactly. So back to the other point where you asked me, was education a second option? It wasn't a second option.
It was your first.
Exactly. I'm called to be a teacher. I love teaching, and currently I am working with children. I happen to be the proprietor of God's Grace Junior School along Namgongo Road in Navasova.
So right now you're teaching the young ones, or it's a secondary school or primary school?
It's a pre and lower primary school.
Why did you choose, and yet at your level you can actually teach senior 6, senior 5, senior 4? Actually,
I remember in my journey of working, again, I want to be grateful to Mrs. Regina Laboke, Principal, Mount of Olives College, Kachiri. Immediately I finished my senior 6, she called me back because I was an outstanding student who loved education, who loved books, very determined. So she called me back, hoping that I would be an inspiration to the other students in school, more so the girls, to love education. You know, students meet a lot of obstacles that make them divert from education and turn into bad habits, and at the end of the day, they have not completed their education. So she called me back. So when she called me back, she gave me an opportunity to be working with the students, the ones that I left in school. She gave me an opportunity to be working in the laboratory, working with the lab, working within the students and motivating them to love education and more so sciences. Then I got a job at Buganda College, Wakiso, where I was teaching biology and chemistry, but still studying in the same time. But now there is what we call calling. For everything and everyone that we see successful, it didn't start out of the blue. Everything has a starting point. For whichever person we see successful in life, they have their story to tell. So, back to the other question, why working with the young children? I have a big dream that it can become an education institution right away from the toddlers, even up to a tertiary institution, but we begin small. So God's Grace began as a nursery school, then later on we kept on adding the lower primary.
So you're the director of the school?
Yeah.
So that right now, what level are you with the children? Like you have preschool, daycare?
Yeah, we have daycare, we have preschool, and then lower primary. Lower primary means from primary 1 up to P3. Then upper primary begins from primary 4 up to P7.
For some reason, I thought that that upper primary starts from P5, and thank God you have corrected me. I always say, oh, I took my daughter in boarding when she joined upper primary, and I thought upper primary starts from P5.
No, it starts from
the three
P4.
classes, so it's from P4, P5, P6, P7.
Where they specialize in the subjects that they'll finally do at UNEP, that is science, SST, mathematics,
so science,
and English.
mathematics, and geography and English is they start from P4.
From P4.
You know the things when we go to school. It was so many years ago when I was in primary. So somehow, and also, you know, the syllabus has changed. I only remember that we studied from primary 1 up to, I think, 3 or 4. We used to study writing, reading,
and
singing.
Books,
those ones, those books. The Nile English course. I know we studied the Nile English. I think that was P5. But in primary, there's a time we used to, they would give you exams of singing, exams of writing, exams of drawing, and then afterwards. Okay. So thank you for educating me on that. So now, when the school that you've started, let's delve into that. You said it was a calling. How did you even start? Because most people have dreams. I have dreams.
Yep.
Many people out there have dreams.
Exactly.
I can tell if you tell me like now, ask me, Jamila, what do you want to do? I'll give you a list of things that I want to do. And every day I wake up, I say, I want to do this, I want to do this. And many people have it. But you find that you're not able to do it. For some reason, the world is moving so fast. You want to do your thing, and then you're called to work, and then you're looking for money, and then you end up not doing something. So you as a person, how did you even start and
putting it into reality?
Yes.
Okay. So it begins with a vision, I should say. You envision it in your mind. But before you envision, you must have realized yourself. So self-realization is very important. I am Pauline. What do I want? I want to be a teacher. I love this. So you first realize yourself. You realize your passion, your calling, so you envision it. So you have it within you. So how are you beginning to put it to reality? Putting it into reality, it calls for strategizing or making a work plan, drawing a work plan on how you're going to do the implementation. So you set the goals for which you're going to follow while implementing. And goals which are smart. Smart goals, I mean, they are specific, they are manageable, they are achievable, realistic, and then they also have a time bound. All those 5 factors have to be put into consideration. So after realizing yourself, who you are, what your passion is for, you envision it, you strategize, or you come up with a work plan on how you're going to implement the goals that you have set. And then number 4, you move into implementation, following the work plan that you set.
So in that work plan that you set, how did you even, because Pauline, even getting a place to put even just a shop is not easy. Now, let alone a school, because I know that Minister of Education, before they give you a license, they have to investigate, they have to monitor, they have to check out the place. Is it conducive for the young people? So how did you even do that?
Okay. So, the situations in life that push us, that's why we should always be grateful to God for whatever happens to us, whether good or bad. So after a bad working experience for a certain school that I will not mention here, after a bad experience, I was so traumatized, depressed. In the quiet room, I began asking myself, so what am I going to do? Is it the end of life? What is the future going to be like? I've been working for these people, but this and that, really I cannot push on with it for as long as it is still continuing. I decided to quit. We're always told never to give up, but there are some situations where you have to give up. You reset, and then actually you retire, and then you retire.
And then reset.
You reset. Let me see. You retire, and then you retire. Retire, the one of retiring, like leaving your workplace. And then you retire, you put on new tires for a new journey. I don't know if I've explained.
Retire, put them new tires. It's like rejuvenating. Like resetting yourself.
In that room where I was quiet with depression and a lot of thoughts running in my mind, like, what am I going to do? Is it the end of life? Like, no. Am I going to give up? Yes, with this I'm going to give up, but on my goal or my vision, I'm not going to give up. Sandra is like, Pauline, what can I do? It's always good to do things which are in line with what you want. For example, yes, there is what they call investing. Someone cannot be a teacher, but then they invest in schools. But then something that you would best monitor or best supervise or really enjoy is what you're really passionate about, or something that you went for in terms of career. For example, if you're medical personnel, I believe it would be better if when one day you came up with a medical hospital or clinic, I think you would better supervise it than a person who is having no knowledge about that.
Yes.
So there came a mind. God gave me a thought in me that I could come up with a school. Even if I start small, it is possible, I told to myself. And I was like, even if there are 10 children, in case they're paying this amount of money, you know, I love multiplying in tens. Actually, I always compare it with these people who make shows. They make entries 10,000, VIP 20, okay, whatever amount.
Yes.
So there is a power in numbers. So I thought in my mind, what if the fee is as low? I was just imagining. What if the fee is as low as 200? If there are 10 children, if I am able to harness 10 children, that is like a 2 million, minimally. What can I budget with the 2 million? I'm just drawing a plan in my mind even before implementation. So what can I do with the 2 million? I have to look for premises, probably that can range in that money. Then teachers who are known to, okay, we don't want to call it being extravagant, but people who are patient. Anyway, it's God who gives such people who are not too demanding, but yet you know in the future, you're going to be improving.
Believe in your dream.
Exactly. Just imagining. I just tried to make a round calculation within my head. And I was like, oh, if the numbers are beyond 10, meaning still the figure changes on condition that the parents pay, putting other factors constant. So then I don't want to forget my husband, Mr. Wagoita Mike. He has been very supportive. He has been very supportive even in the vision. So what happened after getting that and thinking all that, he provided me with a capital.
And you started the school.
And I sought for the premises. I also had my money. But then,
so where is the school right now?
It is along Namgongo Road as you're heading to Sonde.
Okay.
As you're heading to Sonde. It's some village called Nabusugwe.
I know Nabusugwe. I have a cousin who stays there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were too enclosed that no one could know that area.
No, Nabusugwe, I know my cousin stays around that side. Actually, you go, then you branch around the shrine, and then you go straight, then there is a swamp, then you go, you see?
Exactly. It is the same place. It's the same place. Yeah. You know the place.
Yes.
So I had my money, but then he gave me the biggest contribution.
And you started the school.
I bought the chairs. Actually, I first sought for the premises. Okay, whatever it takes, I bought the chairs. Good enough, I had the skill in me. I was providing the knowledge to some other place, probably where they never valued it. Then I was like, no, I can utilize this knowledge for myself. And that's how the story began.
And then now, because of time, we are going to try to rush. So now that you started the school, and then you have you put there your capital, what I want to learn, how long did it take you to get the pupils?
Actually, first of all, me, I'm a believer. I believe with God everything is possible. Because starting a business or being an entrepreneur, you are taking a risk.
Yes, it
Sometimes you've gotten a loan. you're investing. That's why banks don't want to give loans to businesses which are starting. They want to fund those which are already running. So whenever you get your money or whatever money and you invest, you've taken a risk. You don't know whether it's going to come back
or not.
True. So, but because me, I'm a believer, I believe God. Because I know everything with him is possible. Actually, we started in a second term, 2023. Now you can imagine in the middle of the year, most schools are admitting children at the start of the year. That's when children are changing schools, but for us, we started.
And how many students, how many people did you start?
That time we were able to get 45 learners.
Pauline.
On a serious note.
That was God.
45 learners.
Because people struggle even to get 10.
Exactly. We got 45 learners.
And how much were they paying?
By then, we put the fees as low as 250 for the start.
Yes.
You know, when you're starting, you don't over-raise because you want to first get people that,
yes.
And then they will see the service you're delivering. After they have mastered what you do, then you keep on adding the value, plus the money, of course. That's how things begin.
Then, when you got these students, how did you feel?
Of course, I was overjoyed. It was a surprise because after investing that money, having bought the chairs, having paid whatever that was necessary to begin running, I now began, the pressure began rising in me. I don't know why. Sometimes after having taken a risk, you begin worrying.
It is normal because you don't know yet what the future holds for you.
Exactly.
You have the vision, but the practical thing is, you know,
it's different from what
it
actually
is.
Paperwork. Actually, let me give an example to this. When we go to school and acquire knowledge, say from the university, yes, you've gotten the knowledge, but then hands-on is very important.
Yeah, it is.
That's why a medical personnel who has gone through a certificate, diploma, they keep on upgrading. They're far better than someone who just joined university straight because of the much more skills. So what was I saying? So I was anxious. Of course, I got happy, but then they didn't come immediately. I remember when we did a launch, a school opening launch, I hired an entertainer for children, a clown. So he came, he charged me as low as 100,000. But because I had gotten all the money off me, I had made a program with him, but then the day came without cash.
You didn't have the money.
But I believed I would get it. I began making calls for someone to help me with that 100,000. Someone is working, but the money is not yet there. So I'm like, oh, he's going to shame me.
And you know, clowns don't really care.
He's going to do the marketing after not getting a pay. Now God does a miracle. Close to the end of his work, a parent came and registered 3 children at once. I used the registration fee to pay him. That very day, it was Saturday, 27th of May, 2023. Wow. I'll never forget. A parent came because I was worried. The people I hoped, you know, sometimes the people we think would help us, sometimes it's not, it doesn't work out.
It is normal. That's how the world is. So then you started the school. Because of time we are going to rush. So you started the school and then you now have how many? How many students do you have now?
Actually, our population now is 115 over the 2 years because we began in 2023. Actually, we just turned 2 years on 27th of May. So this year that we started from 27th is our 3rd year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really good. So you have daycare, you have... Daycare. But now, let me ask you, throughout your journey, you have done this, you've believed in this. What can you say about removing what government is trying to bring in debate? It's a debate. I cannot say it is yet confirmed that nursery schools are a waste of time.
It's not a waste of time. It's really not a waste of time. I'm a mother. My son is at a daycare right now as I am speaking. You would wonder why wouldn't I take him to where I'm working from. It's just because of distance. Where I'm staying and then where I'm working from, the 2 places are a bit distant. So I had to get a nearby place where I could drop him, then I head for my work, despite providing the same
services. Because you don't want to stress the child.
Exactly, moving on a daily basis because I commute for work on a daily basis. So I decided it that way and I saw it would be beneficial and cheaper on my side. So what the government is saying... I
also take my daughter to daycare.
Oh.
Because why? The reason is the same. you have to work, and then we no longer trust maids. Basically, if you have the means, you take that child. And the kid, actually, for me, it's not even about the issue of either the maid's issue is there, but the social skills. Kids who go to daycare kind of tend to learn faster. You were a teacher, you will tell me this. Actually, the social skills.
Exactly, because they are learning to associate with other children. So what the government is saying about that, I for one, if I were in parliament, I would not second it, I would not urge for it. Why? First of all, we've seen videos circulating around about how children are being mistreated by heartless people, the so-called maids with whom we leave the children with. So that's where the daycare comes in to help at a certain fee, but at least you know your child is in safe hands. And then you've talked about the social skills. Because we find other children in such places, children learn more with fellow children.
Manners, what?
Exactly. Actually, for us at our school, there are some children parents are brought, they have reached a speaking age, but then they haven't.
But why is that the big problem now?
Yeah, besides being probably a health problem, because sometimes it could be a health problem or a genetical problem, putting those factors aside, now when we look at the social issues, most of the parents today are working. You leave early in the morning, the father leaves early in the morning, you've left this child with a maid in that case. This maid is busy
going to go to
with
UTV, to watch TV.
Actually, they are busy with the chores at home.
And TikTok.
They will not have time for your child to speak some words to them. Hello, baby, please do this. Some of them are even angry, probably because of psychological issues they are having. So you realize that this child is going to be bored all day at home. That is in case by chance there is no, that is case by chance this person will not harm the child. So you realize that this child may have challenges of speech.
They said, so sometimes because the children, they leave the kids with the maid, so the kid will not learn how to talk.
Exactly.
In most cases.
Yeah. So you find that at a daycare or in a community where children are gathering, these children are going to learn more social skills. They're going to learn to speak faster. They're going to learn how to do various activities because of that society they are in with fellow children. Actually, even if the parent you're there at home, sometimes you could be having stress with money and other issues, and you can keep quiet for a whole day, even having locked up yourself in your room. So when will this child have time to learn some social skills? And not every parent or maid is able to, should I call it minimizing? I don't know if, okay, not everyone is able to lower themselves to the understanding of the child. Say in terms of playing.
The stress we have at work, by the time you go home,
you're taking sleep.
So finding the child, he has already been bored, is waiting for you. The mother has come when she's tired, dad is exhausted. So, oh God.
So, daycares should go ahead, in my opinion. Same goes to nursery schools. These schools are really helping us nurture our children, actually, that toddler age. Because you leave them linger around, okay, you're waiting for the 6 years people then used to start with at school. Today's societies are different. Then we used to gather, those who started at 6 years in that time, they used to gather for, how do we call it, for informal education in society. But today, everyone is moving away. So these nursery schools are really helping us gather the children and avoid bad incidences.
So now, as we wind up the show, where can we find you?
I can be found in Nabusugwe Trading Center, like I already said. That is along Namgongo Road as you're heading to Sonde. You branch off at Nachianja Stage, God's Grace Junior School.
God's Grace Junior School.
Junior School.
Do you have you on social media also that we can see how the school looks like?
Okay. Yeah, on my Facebook, I use Naggirinya Pauline, my birth name. I've posted everything there. Then also my WhatsApp. Oh, okay.
Well, we can look out for it. You said it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Naggirinya.
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 Like Segirinya.
Segirinya. And that's what I was going to say. That is it the opposite of Segirinya? Naggirinya.
The opposite.
Odirachi.
Nedirango.
Ndirango.
That is the leopard clan.
Leopard clan, okay. Yeah, I know that that's the only thing. If you had to know Muganda very well, you tell them Modira what and then, yeah.
So Naggirinya Pauline.
And you still have enough space to take on the children.
Exactly.
From daycare to P3. Wow.
Little at a time because we add on a class per year.
Okay, interesting. So, what is your last advice to people out there?
My advice to people out there, okay, more so to the women and girls. Let me first give the first advice to girls. To girls, first of all, I encourage you to be very determined, to have a goal, to have a mission in life, not to be a swindler. I remember my principal, she said, avoid being a swindler, avoid being wishy-wishy. You're just swayed here and there. So girls out there, I really encourage you to have a goal, to realize yourself, to know who you are and who you want to be. To have that goal, be determined on it, and not just to be swindled anyhow or anyway. I encourage you to stay on track.
What quote do you want to leave us with today?
Rome was not built in one day. That's an English proverb. Rome was not built in one day, so it means everything comes little at a time. Everything comes little at a time for as long as you remain focused on it and you're really determined to do it. So what does it call for? It calls to start. However small something can be, never undermine a small beginning.
Because it can grow.
It can grow and become something big.
Wow, interesting. So for those of you who are watching, I have taken this from Pauline Naggirinya. She says, start, however small it is. Because even when you plant a seed, you plant one bean, you plant one millet, it grows and makes more. So small beginnings, dedicated small beginnings, focused, you will reap what you're sowing. And also it's like babies. When you look at a baby when they are born, the leg even cannot reach the palm. The foot is very small, but as they grow, you find that the baby grows and becomes someone responsible. So with that, I want to remind you again, 3Oul Creations, please make sure that you support Patricia. We hosted her here. Patricia is a fashion designer and her number is just right there. All this dress code you see making us look beautiful, African, it is Patricia's creations. So let us visit 3Oul Creations on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then you'll see her works. I want to thank Pauline again, and the school is called
God is Grace
God is Grace Nursery and Primary School. So you don't need to come all the way up to town when you have a school right there next to you. So that we minimize the thing of saying, I'm late at work. You just take the child and then go to work. So with that said, remember, Super Soul runs every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Friday, 11 a.m. And then YouTube, still Super Soul Sisters. So with that said, my name is Jamila Oluka. Thank you to UBC production team, the team behind Super Soul Sisters. Do have a lovely day. Bye.